Alright, hi everyone. It's me, Danielle, again, doing another quick Flosstube. The girls just went down and I was getting on pajamas, and I think for the last 4 or 5 nights I was thinking to myself, oh, I'll do a Flosstube tomorrow, so I decided today I'm just going to do my Flosstube and move on. So we are currently in the last week of our stay here in Great Falls, Virginia. So today I spent most of the day working on getting ready to go. I took the car down to a lube shop and got the oil changed, and I got it vacuumed out and everything. Came home, started packing away superfluous stuff, started packing away a lot of the cross-stitch stuff I've bought along the way, trying to put everything in boxes that we've accumulated during the month and seeing if that helps things fit more densely, because now my mom is here. She met us out here to drive with us back to Wisconsin, so that's about halfway. Spend a couple days with my family there, so we have less space and more stuff with her along with us now. So I've been working hard to just try to get rid of what I can get rid of and condense what I can condense, selling stuff off on Marketplace, which has helped a lot. So here in Great Falls, the local needle shop would be In Stitches down in Alexandria. So I've gone there quite a few times. I just went there my 3rd time yesterday or the day before, and I purchased just a couple patterns and things that I'll show you. Basically what I've been doing is keeping a little stash there behind the counter. They've been really nice in letting me do that. That way I can purchase things over different paychecks. And he went on a budget, which I think is most of us could probably understand that. So they've been super helpful with that. And that way, if I'm shopping with the girls, I don't have to spend forever finding the same patterns over and over and over again. I can just have my little stash and pick out which ones I want to purchase. So hoping to at least go down there one more time. This last time I actually was able to go by myself because my mom was here to watch the girls at the rental house. So I actually was able to take a video of the shop. So at the end of this video here, I'm gonna add that on the little tour of In Stitches in Alexandria, Virginia. Super pretty, super friendly staff. I've had fun going there and shopping. So first I'll show you some of my haul from there on this last trip that I was just there. One I'm really excited about. So the reason I'm into cross stitch right now, or what got me back into cross stitch after a while being away, was learning that there is all this sampler history. One of my things I'm really into about quilting is the history, and I follow Mary Fons, who does Quilt Nerd, and she talks a lot about the history of quilts and looks at different examples of quilts and who made them and the story behind them. And I absolutely love that. And then I found out that cross stitch has its own similar history, same period of time. So I was really excited when I was in Stitches and I found this book. It's called I Write the Needle's Praise, a century of sample making, 1630s to 1730s, by Whitney Antiques. Okay, so here's the book. Okay, it's a decent size. It's a little pricey, but all specialty books are. See if I can do a quick flip through without, doing anything bad. So there's different samplers, as you can see, on the different pages. And then I think what it does is it just tells the story of each sampler, and I'm excited. This is the stuff I geek out about. I read a similar book on just general embroidery about the 1800s for the most part a few months ago, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I just like growing my knowledge base, and I'm really excited to read this book. When I'm done with it, I'll probably put it in the retreat for people to be able to look at if they want to. So this was the main part of my purchase. It was pretty pricey, as I'm sure you can imagine. So I didn't buy a whole lot of patterns or anything on this trip. Some things I did buy. Now, most of the stuff that I buy isn't super new. It's new-ish, but not super new because I'm relatively new to cross stitch, so everything is still relatively new to me. This one's from 2022, Scissor Sampler by Tellin Emblem. I don't think I'm saying that right, but you might have seen this around. Oops, sorry. Really cute. I love the rose in the middle. I love the spools of thread. I love the birds. I'm excited to stitch it and put it up in the retreat. Quilters, I think, will like it a lot too when they come. So I've been excited about this one for sure. And then this next one, I'm a big Jane Austen fan, which probably isn't that surprising. But I remember studying, I think it was Pride and Prejudice in high school. And then I did a lot of Latin American literature in college. And I've just kind of gotten back to American literature and English literature recently as I've been getting into the history of all this. I've always liked period pieces. I've always liked history. So I got this, it's called Miss Bingley's Library, and it says, I shall be miserable if I have not an excellent library, 1813. Okay, so that would be from Pride and Prejudice, I believe. Very pretty. It also reminds me of my mom. My mom's a pretty avid reader, like very avid. Like she probably reads, I'd say 5 novels a week, and has been since I was a baby at least, probably way before that. So I don't know if I'll make it for myself or make it for her, or if I'll make both, but I'm really excited about it. It's by Plum Street Samplers. I can show you it again. Sorry if I did that kind of fast. So you got that beautiful, I don't know if that's supposed to be Pemberley, maybe is what it's called. Sorry, it's late and I'm tired. Got a little Jane Austen looking girl on top. I'm excited about it. I didn't think about how much white stitching that's gonna be, so I'll have to get over that. If you don't know why I'd have an issue with white stitching a lot of the times, if you're using 2 threads, which is what I usually do, you have to railroad it, which means splitting the 2 threads apart from each other as you're stitching it, or else they kind of come out wonky looking and look really distorted. So, but I have found something recently that I really like that I do want to show you. This is probably not new news to most of you, but it's new to me. So a few, I don't know, maybe months ago, Lori Holt came out with the Unstitcher, which is a little tool to help pick your stitching out if you make a mistake. I've been looking for one. All the local shops I've been to, which has been several of them, haven't had them. Either they've had them and sold out, or they didn't know what it was, or something like that. And I found them on Etsy, but I didn't want to, it was like one of those things where you have to pay as much in shipping as you do for the actual item. So that, I was just kind of holding off on that, and been holding off on it. Well, I was at InStitches and found this thing. Sorry, I'm getting used to the backwards. Okay. It's probably hard to see, okay, but it's got one end that's forked, almost like a needle, like an eye of a needle, and the other that's just a probe, a sharp probe with a little bend in it. Ooh, there we go. Okay, so this end you can use for picking stitches or for helping laying down stitches, and this end you can use for twisting little threads that have popped out to the front, back to the back of the stitching again. And I really like it. I'm not bending my needles, although most of my needles don't really bend because I try to buy higher quality needles, but you can get a lot better leverage, I think, using this tool. It comes in different sizes. This is the 24. It was the finest one they had there. I don't know if they come any higher than that or not, but you know, it's easier to hold on to, it's easier to maneuver, and because it's stuck in wood, you can actually put a lot more leverage on it as you're working on it. So I've really fallen in love with this thing. I see why it's called Stitcher's Best Friend. It wasn't cheap, but it's worth it, I think. Just takes me maybe a quarter as much time to take out stitches as it did before. So I've been putting it in my little, I got this little pouch as a freebie from a shop that I ordered from for my quilt shop, if that makes sense. Turtle Hand Boutiques. I can do a whole thing on what they do, but basically it's a shop that imports hand-painted Malaysian batiks, and as a thank you gift she sent me one of these. And I didn't know what to do with it because it was just one of those little things that I didn't know what to do with, and now I'm making it my little emergency cross-stitch baggie for my purse, so that I have, you know, at least some needles, a scissors, a needle holder book, and now the Stitcher's Best Friend That way I can keep it on my purse, so no matter where I am working on stitching, if I forgot something, I have something to use. So I just have to remember not to take these tools and put them in project bags, because that's what I tend to do. On that note, at InStitches, I've been buying a lot of these little, you've probably seen these before, scissors with the little handle. I like the little handle or a fob or something on it because it makes it easier to see. I've kind of figured that out with my phone after Isabel was born. Violet was always using my phone, and she was always dropping it, especially, and I was worried she would drop it like in a Costco or something. So I started putting this strap on my phone so I could at least strap it around her wrist so she wouldn't lose my phone if she was watching Cocomelon or whatever when we were out and about. And I realized that it actually makes my phone a lot easier to find, because if it's sticking out of a couch cushion or something, usually I can see this little corded part, if nothing else. And I'm finding the same thing with the scissors, that it just makes it a little bit larger, a little bit more visible, and easier to grab. So I'm trying to buy these scissors with something on them, and it was just more economical to buy them together than it was to buy them separately. And plus it's got the nice little cap on it, so it protects my work. So I've been collecting these. InStitches has them for relatively cheap. So I've just been buying a couple every time I go, and that way I have a little stash of scissors going for my work. What else? Okay, now I can start showing you more of the haul. This one I'm going to show you real quick actually is not from, this one is not from InStitches. I got this, I want to say from Teresa Kogut's Etsy page, I want to say. I recently joined her Patreon group on the 3rd level, I think it's called Dedicated Whimsy, where I get 2 patterns, a coloring page, and then other little goodies like videos and things like that. But the main reason I joined was because I like a lot of her patterns, and you get a 20% off her Etsy shop coupon all the time with that. So that to me was more worth it, because I know I'm going to be buying a lot of her patterns for a long time. So this one I fell in love with. I saw it somewhere. I don't know if I saw it online or what, but Sweet Land. It's a patriotic. I love the big broad eagle. I think it's beautiful, and that's what really sold me on it. For a while I was looking for it in shops. I couldn't find it in any shops because it was too new. So I finally just gave up and ordered, and I really hoped that it would get here before we left Virginia, and it did. So I was really excited about that. So I'm excited about the eagle for myself, and my mother-in-law likes eagles a lot, so maybe I'll make her something with the eagle at some point, maybe next year when patriotic season comes around. So other things I got from InStitches, they ordered in a couple patterns for me that were sold out. This one is Dog's Declaration. Okay. Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of, what does it say? Squirrels. I almost read samplers, reading it backwards. So we went to Monticello while we were here. That's Thomas Jefferson's estate. And he obviously was the one that wrote the Declaration of Independence. So I've kind of been in this Jefferson mood lately. And so I thought this was really cute. And plus I'm a dog lover. So this is going to be one of my mementos from the trip, even if it seems a little off. It's patriotic without being crazy. It's got a little bit of humor to it. So I'm excited about this. It's by Ink Circles. Again, InStitches ordered it in for me. I'm really excited about it. It'll be a lot of fun. Looks pretty big. If I remember, they had the model stitched up on the wall, and it looked pretty large. Some other ones. This one I think I got off. I think I got this one on Teresa Kogut's Etsy shop as well. I'm not 100% sure. I might have gotten this at InStitches, but I was stressed out about some things going on about the business, and you know, looking at the future and all that, and I was starting to get kind of overwhelmed about it. And then I saw, at the same time we were learning about Gettysburg, because we went to see Gettysburg while we were here on this trip, and so I was in it kind of learning more about Abe Lincoln and watching some of his biographies. And then I stumbled upon this Teresa Kogut pattern at just the right time, right as I was starting to stress out about this other stuff going on in my life back home. And it's, the best thing about the future is it comes one day at a time, Abe Lincoln. And that was just the phrase that I needed to settle down. I really am attracted to stitches with phrases that are positive or comforting, or, you know, just give you the warm fuzzies. I don't do stitching really that's super religious, because I'm not super religious, but I do like the positive and the calming kind of phrases. So I think this one will be a good therapeutic stitch, because you can sit and think about those sentiments while you're stitching on it, which is soothing, I think, and therapeutic. This next one is also a Teresa Kogut. This one I'm almost certain I got it in stitches. Oh, you know, it would be an easy way to tell whether it has an in stitches sticker on it or not. This last one didn't. This one does. This is just a simple angel. I think it's gorgeous. It says, "You are worthy." We all have those days where we're frustrated or we're kind of doubting ourselves, and a lot of times you don't even realize it's happening until after it's done. But again, at the same time, I was getting frustrated about some stuff back home with the business, and this was a good, you know, just kind of self-love piece I picked up that I'm excited to do. And yeah, I'm excited about it. What else? Okay, this one's from In Stitches as well. This is Stacy Nash Primitives. Be kind to one another. There is a world of care, and this is a world of care, and there is enough of needful woe for everyone to bear. I hope I'm saying this right. I have a hard time reading these sometimes from the picture. It's the Be Kind sampler by Stacy Nash. So again, another positive sentiment. I love the white in it. I know it's going to be a pain to stitch, but I just love the white on that background. So yeah, I'm just excited about it. You know, the whole be kind sentiment is important to me. I really think that's a lot of what matters in the world right now. We're all going through stuff. So I think if you can be kind whenever you can be kind, that always makes someone else's day a little more bearable. So I'm excited to work on that one. I mean, I'm excited to work on all these, or else I wouldn't have bought them, right? Next one is another Plum Street sampler. This one's from In Stitches. Live on Little. A lot of you have seen this. Okay, very beautiful. It reminds me a lot of this area. There's a lot of mills in this area and distilleries, and so you see a lot of these big stone buildings around here. The mills, particularly the textile mills, connect with me a lot, being a quilter and just being into the fiber arts in general and the history of the fiber arts. This one says, "How great the blessing and vast the art to live on little with a thankful heart." And yeah, this is just another reminder to myself that, you know, you don't need to hit all your goals all at once. You know, you can just move on with what you got, and that's perfectly fine. In fact, it's probably the better way to be, because, you know, there's always going to be a bigger fish, right? This one I love, the Blue Flower. I have her Moonlight sampler. This is the Magpie and the Moon. Okay, I have a thing for magpies. I'm from Wisconsin, which to people in Idaho is back east. The Midwest is back east. And we don't have magpies in Wisconsin. We don't have magpies on the eastern side of the country. In Idaho and out west, they're everywhere. It's almost like a crow. In fact, I think they're in the same, they might be in the same group as crows. I know they're in the same group as jays. So I've just fallen in love with magpies because they remind me of the West. I know a lot of people out west think they're just like trash birds, but I think they're gorgeous and they're really smart and they're fun. When I was working at Deer Flat National Wildlife Refuge, we were comparing our personalities to birds, and my boss told me that I would be a magpie because I like shiny things, and magpies like shiny things. So they're like crows that way, in that they gather stuff. And they have these huge nests. Their nests look like gigantic, what is it called? That type of wicker. Yeah, wicker. They look like gigantic wicker baskets. They're gorgeous. Very cool. This one, again, the Blue Flower. The In Stitches lady definitely knows how to market. She ordered this one in for me, and when I told her I wanted it, she just put my name on the list, and voila. So this is Happy Campers. I don't think it's hard to guess why I'd want this one. It'll be great in the retreat. Goes with the whole theme. I love the beaver. the little, I think it's a, I don't know if it's a porcupine or a hedgehog. The cabin, the cool trees that have the diamond pattern in them, the moose, campers. I mean, all this stuff I love, right? And it's adorable. So I've seen a lot of people work on this. I'm excited about it. So blue flower, happy campers. All right. Oh, here's the Stitcher's Best Friend packaging. I was saving it because I was trying to figure out what to do with that other side, and I ended up just watching a video of it. Made in USA. I think it says Rainbow Gallery. Yeah, rainbowgallery.com. I'm saving this so I remember to buy more of them, essentially, so I don't forget what it's called. All right, I think the rest of what I have as far as haul is all fabric. And some of these, I hope they all have labels on them. I'm not sure if they all do. Okay, this one is 36, picture this plus fawn. So I got this from InStitches. Sorry, I know the lighting's behind me, but you know, you do what you gotta do. So, love that. It's like a gentle tan color. You know, like doe skin, which makes sense. So, next one I got is a 36 count Lakeside linen. It's called Attic Lace. I think I got a half of this. It's almost like, it's a white with a tiny bit of yellow in it. Okay, and I went in there and I saw that they had Lakeside. I never knew why Lakeside was such a big deal. People talk about their Lakeside and saving it for special things. And I asked the lady working, I said, what's the big deal with Lakeside? And it was actually, I think one of the things that convinced me to go to InStitches in the first place was I heard Laura from Brenda and the Cereal Sampler talk about how she ordered some Lakeside from InStitches and that they're a good place to source it. And so I was like, oh, well, maybe I can go there and find out what this Lakeside deal is. And I asked the lady behind the desk, and it was the same gal who Laura had worked with. And she was telling me Lakeside has a very like smooth feel. Like it feels almost silky compared to other linens. So I'm a big texture person. And so I was really excited when I felt that. I didn't have crazy money to blow on buying a bunch of Lakeside. I would if I could. We actually, while I was talking to a lady, she was saying there was one gal that comes down from New York or something once a year and buys thousands and thousands of dollars of fabric, and a lot of what she buys is actually Lakeside. So now I can officially say I have my beloved piece of Lakeside, and I'll have to find something special to use it for, and you know, keep collecting it. This next one is another Lakeside. It's a 40 count. This one I liked the color a lot. I have a pattern called, oh, what was it? Julie from Running with Scissors was doing it. It was like Calls the Wind or Said the Wind or something like that. It's a really pretty fall one that's very scrolly and Baroque looking. Baroque as in like the time period, the art movement. So this is a piece of Lakeside. It's kind of got that orangey. Again, I'm sorry about the backlighting, but this is my only place to hide from everyone and do my Flosstube here undisturbed. So it's got a lot of oranges in it. So this I think will look really nice, especially with the white in that pattern or the lighter colors in that pattern. So at least I bought it with a specific project in mind, right? So that will go on my fall start list, which is going to be sooner than later. It's already July, right? It's the middle of July, so August. So maybe a month and a half, I'll be working on fall stuff. That's crazy to even think about. But I mean, we've been gone from Idaho all summer, basically. We left early June. So it's been over a month. We've probably been about 5 weeks now. So yeah. Another one. This was one that the gal at InStitches sold me on. She said Seraphim was one of her favorites as well, because she was saying that their dyeing is very intense and it's also very reliable. Like if you get the same type, if you get the same color from Seraphim, it's going to be similar to it was last time you bought it, which is good. And I can imagine that's really hard to do. I think the other thing she said is that there's never any little like burrs or pills or anything, which I don't see any in this one, so maybe that is what she said. But it's almost like this pinkish blush color. Another good, it would be a good fall one, or a good, I don't know, anything. I just love it. It'd probably be a good summer one, actually. It kind of reminds me of like a watered down tequila sunrise. Like I said, it's a 32 count Seraphim called Sand Dunes. Super excited about it. I think right now 32 count's my favorite because it's smaller. Well, obviously it's smaller than a 28. It's not gonna be huge like a 28 will be, but 36 and 40s, I really have to like have a space that's set up right with like I have to have good conditions to be able to work on those. And with having 2 little kids and all that, my life's just kind of hectic right now to be able to rely on having that all set up the way it was. When I stitch, it's randomly. It's a lot, but I stitch everywhere. I take my stitching with me. And so I need to have something that I can see with my bare eyes. I can see 36 and 40, but it's a lot more strain on my eyes if I don't have magnification and lighting and all that. And like I said, I don't have a dedicated stitching spot like that at home because I have 2 little girls and they would just take it all apart. So I needed something that I can do until I have, you know, my stitching nest or whatever one day, and the girls understand that that's mama's. So next one is Picture This Plus Wren. This is a 28. I know I just said that I like 32s. I'll do basically anything from a 28 to a 40. It just, the color is what's most important to me, and then what I want to do with it is what's important. I like 28s for stitching in the car, and that probably sounds crazy to a lot of you. I get car sick if I read in the car or if I look at my phone in the car, but I think with cross stitch, because you're kind of staring at one specific spot, I don't get car sick really, unless we're in a bumpy or curvy road. But if we're just hanging out on the interstate like we are for 2,400 miles each direction on this trip, 28 count I can do really easily. It's just large enough that I can see it without having to have all that magnification, and it's large enough that I can actually get the needle in the right place in a moving vehicle. So I think I'll always have some 28 projects going on just so I can have stuff in the car with me. So this is Wren with a W, W-R-E-N, like the bird. Okay. It's not as rosy as the fawn was. This is more, I don't want to say grayish, but I don't really know what else to call it. More ashy. I love it. I want to start doing samplers, and that means I need to get some good colors for samplers. And when I just look at the never-ending neutrals, the country vintage mocha and all that, like I just find them boring after a while. So this one I was excited because it's got a lot of modeling in it. I like the modeling. To me, it keeps my eyes entertained when I'm working on a big project. It's a lot of the reason why I like using variegated stuff, over-dyed stuff, because the colors are changing as you're working on it, and it just kind of gives me that little bit of excitement as I go along so I don't get bored. So now, those were kind of my recent purchases. I think that was actually probably more than, well, it might have been my last 2 trips to In Stitches. I don't remember exactly when the last time I did a Flosstube and showed you guys this stuff. So I'll show you some of my works I'm working on. This next one, I believe I'm doing it on a 28 count, so this is probably what I'm going to be working on in the car. This is one of my patriotics for this year. It is Twin Peak Primitives Patriotic Smalls, and it doesn't look very small because it's on 28. So I don't know if I'll do the other ones on 28 or not, but I love the color of the fabric for it. I don't have a picture of it because it's a PDF file, and I don't want to try to pull up the PDF right now because I'll end up flashing the chart on accident, but it's basically a window scene, and then there's going to be, you know, like a sailboat and a lighthouse and all that back there. So this is one of the ones I've been working on. It's easy on the eyes because it's 28. And yeah, I've just been enjoying doing this one. I moved it into a larger, I think this is an 11 by 11 frame to give myself a little more space. But yeah, I'm excited about it. The nice thing about I love the curtains up here. I love the texture they give. And what's nice too is the red kind of gives me a break from the white. So I can do white and then red and then white and then red and then white and then red. So I'm not constantly getting frustrated with having to railroad everything because I don't have an ideal setup yet with a frame and all that and something holding the frame. I basically, when I'm working on this size, I put it against my chest and then I put the other end against my knee and make my own little leg holder frame thing. And so this is the perfect size for that. And yeah, that's just how I've been working and probably how I'll be working for a while. I got this cute grime guard off Etsy. I wish I remember the name of the place. I love the color. I like the monarchs. My undergrad background is, one of my degrees in undergrad was ecology. And so butterflies have kind of become an important thing to me. One, because they're pollinators and all my history with the ecology side of that. And I have a lot of friends that did pollinator research in grad school. But also Violet's really into butterflies right now. So anything butterfly reminds me of her. I got a gorgeous needle minder a few weeks ago from, it was something Accoutrements Designs or something like that. And it's a gorgeous monarch. So I was excited to get this one. A lot of the grime guards I see on Etsy are kind of cutesy for me. But this one I thought was gorgeous. I'm excited for when I get home. I have a lot of fat quarters of quilting fabric that are really novelty or bold prints like this that I wish I had bought more of when I bought them. When I first started quilting, I bought a lot of fat quarters because I didn't know what I was going to work on. I didn't want to spend too much money on it, but I wanted a little bit of everything. Now when I buy quilting fabric, I have to like it enough to buy 2 yards, because 2 yards is enough that I can do something with it. I might not be able to make a whole quilt out of 2 yards, but I can certainly make a good chunk of a quilt out of 2 yards, at least of the top. So, and that makes me pickier about which ones I pick. So right now I'm trying to use up my fat quarters from my first couple years of quilting and start buying just bigger chunks of stuff that I really, really, really love and is really special to me. So making these grime guards and making project bags will be perfect for using up those fat quarters, especially because they're kind of unique fabrics that I haven't seen in other cross-stitch accessories like grime guards and project bags and things like that. So I think it'll help make it a little more special, a little unique, especially for those who like the more novelty, bold kind of stuff. All right, what's next? Okay, I had to reorganize a lot of my stitching because I'm starting to pack up to get ready to go for our next leg of the trip. I moved, this is Teresa Kogut's Kindred Spirits. It is a gift I'm working on for someone. I just switched from the 11 by 11 Q-snap. I added the 14-inch extension kit to it. So Q-snaps, from what I understand, they have a 6 by 6, an 8 by 8, an 11 by 11, and then a 17 by 17. And between the 11 by 11 and 17 by 17, you can get a extension pack that makes a 14 by 14, and that's what this is on. So this is large enough now that the rest of the pattern will fit in there and I won't have to worry about crushing stitches or anything like that. So I don't have a grime guard for this yet, so I'll be working on that. I'll probably I have some magnets I can use to pin that loose fabric. At home, when I work on something, I cut it and stitch the edges first so that there's not a lot of excess hanging off the Q-snap, but I don't have my machine with me right now. I think I actually need to relearn how to use my serger for doing this. You know, I have a serger. I've only used it like once to make baby diapers, and in quilting it's just not something you need to use a lot, and it's kind of a complicated thing to use because there's 4 threads that go into it. But now that I'm cross-stitching and I'm using this expensive linen, I definitely see the plus of using a serger when I'm cutting my linen, now that I don't have a machine with me. At home I was just doing a zigzag stitch, which works fine, but I don't have a machine with me, so I have a lot of loose, ends like this, and they drive me nuts. I thought I had fray check with me, and I can't find it. I'm sure I do have it, I just don't know where it is. And I was just gonna run some fray check around along the edges to kind of make do for now, but can't find it. I don't want to go buy some because I have some at home, so I'm just trying to keep it rolled up to protect the edges, making do till I get home to my machine. So, but yeah, or I should probably tell you what I did on this. So I think from last time I filled in, again, I apologize for the lighting being behind me. I filled in the dress with all those red stitches. You can see all the stitching on the back through there. Isn't that kind of funny? I'm learning, guys. At least this time I put my phone the right direction. So I filled in her dress. I put in the peacock. I put in half of the plant flower vase. I've been working on the bee. And I filled in this blue side. And that's when I decided to switch to the larger frame, because now that I had this chunk done, I could move it over. But when I moved it over, it still wasn't really enough space to be comfortable, so I swapped for the bigger frame. So I'm excited. This one technically has a due date. I don't think I'm gonna make it, especially not if I want to get it framed, but I'm still working on it really hard so I can show it to the person before I send it off to get framed. So I can at least get somewhat, I love giving gifts in person because I like seeing the reaction. That's like the whole thing for me. So at least if I can get the stitching done before then, I can see their reaction to that, even if it's not the final product after framing and everything. So been working hard on that. That's my first 1/1 project, so I'm kind of getting used to that. I keep making this mistake where I'll work on the 1/2 for a while, and then I'll swap back to a 2/2, and I forget to change the number of threads I'm using. So I'm trying to be really careful about that, and I'm trying to work large chunks on one project at a time so I don't have to swap back as often. I do the same thing with quilting. Quilting, there's different ways to put together the top. There's, traditional machine piecing, there's hand piecing, there's applique, there's paper piecing. There's a bunch of different methods to put together a quilt top. And I like to do one method at a time. I might have multiple projects going on, but I don't like swapping between methods, every day, because it just drives my brain crazy. Like if I'm working on a paper piece project, I'm only going to work on paper piece projects for a little while. Or if I'm working on a machine piece project, I'm only going to work on machine piece for a while, or so on and so forth. So I think it's probably going to be similar in smaller version with my cross stitch, where if I'm doing 1/2, I'm going to work on my 1/2 project for 4 or 5 days before I switch back to a 2/2, just so my brain doesn't make mistakes. What else? So I think I'm kind of a monogamous stitcher, but I'm doing some big projects, and big projects can get tiring after a while, as I'm sure many of you know. So I have about 4 or 5 active whips going on this trip. I packed so many projects with me for this trip because I didn't know what I was going to want to work on. I really didn't. And I've gotten it down to about 4 or 5 different pieces that I'm working on actively, and I'm really happy with them. It's just enough variety. This one you've probably heard of. It's Pam's Survival Sal is the hashtag. Pam from Just Keep Stitching is on her 30th anniversary since her breast cancer diagnosis. So she's 30 years a survivor of breast cancer. And she decided to do a sal, that's a stitch along, if you don't know what that is, using the Praiseworthy Stitches Simple Gifts Courage pattern. And you can do a different pattern if you wish, but I decided to do that same pattern in pink for breast cancer because I have like 3 or 4 people in my life who've had it or have had it, and I wanted to be able to do something thinking about them. So I switched this one to the 17x11 frame because I just needed a little more width to see the whole thing. It's wider than I thought it was going to be. I'm really hoping I don't run out of fabric at the bottom. The good thing is that it's a Quaker, so it kind of cuts off motifs in the middle of them anyway. So if I do run out of fabric, it's not going to be that noticeable in the pattern. It will just, as long as I don't have a, well, even if I have an initial halfway done, it's not going to look like it was not intentional. So after swapping it, here's where I am. I'll try to do this during the day next time so that you can see the stitching better. It's just hard because during the day the girls are up. But during the day, the window, which is in front of me, will be giving light this direction instead of having it backlit behind me. So I'm on page, I want to say 4. I think there's 9 total. There's 6 full pages and then 3 like half pages maybe. So I think I'm on 4 out of the first, page 4 of the first 6 that are full pages, if that makes sense. This one's a pretty relaxing one. This one I think is also 28 count, I want to say. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure it is. So I might work on this one in the car too on my way home. But I've taken a break from it for a few days because I've been working on the Teresa Kogut one. But this is my first one doing like little motifs, and it is fun to be able to do one more motif. And it's kind of like chapters in a book, you know, where you go, I'll do one more chapter and then I'll go to bed. Well, for me, it's been, I'll do one more motif, you know, one more motif. And not all motifs are created equal, but it's kind of nice to have the option of what size I want to do or how complicated I want to do. And it's fun doing the strategy of figuring out which motifs to do to move myself around the board, so to speak. So I've been having a lot of fun with it. I decided to go with this really mottled gray color because I didn't want that same brownish sampler color. I wanted something interesting because the color of the thread wasn't going to change a whole lot. It's all pinks. It's only 2 different types of pinks, even though they're variegated. I wanted some interesting background. So I went with my gut and used this gray, very highly mottled fabric, and I'm really glad I did that. I think it will make it unique to me. So I'm excited about that one to get framed one day, once it's done. I'm getting towards, I think I got 2 more whips to show you, possibly. Maybe just one. I think just one. This next one is actually a little bit of a surprise. I'm making it as a surprise for Blake. He is really into Santas, especially old Santas. You're not gonna be able to see this one at all, I don't think. But if you look really close, this is a Real Housewives of Cross Stitch pattern. I like their patterns a lot when I don't want to have to think a whole lot because theirs are more like chunky and cartoony. And so it's not a huge struggle to have to put the pattern together. The motifs and everything are simpler. And so I'm doing this one on a 40 count linen that's like this charcoaly color. I like the dark color because I think it makes it look more masculine, and I want to make it for him as a Christmas ornament. So doing it on 40 count helps shrink the pattern down to make it more of an ornament size. When I get it done, I'll make it into probably a little pillow to put on the tree. At first I thought I would put backing on it, but now that I'm talking about it, I think I'm going to do more of a 3D pillow kind of thing with a loop to go on the tree. So that's my big surprise for him. It might not be a surprise if he sees this, but I doubt he will. He didn't want to go on Flosstube with me today. I think he's tired. He was working all day, but he likes to creep in the background and see what I'm talking about. So for all I know, he might be on the other side of the bed. So those are my projects and stuff for up till now. It still ended up being almost 45 minutes, so I still need to put in my video from In Stitches, so I will work on editing that in. Thanks for playing along and coming and hanging out, and I know I'm not as fancy or as advanced, or I don't have a second person that I'm, joking back and forth with right now. I'm just a mom trying to keep doing what she likes doing, even though she has 2 little kids, so I gotta fit it in where I can fit it in. So it's very real around here on my Flosstube. I'm actually in my pajamas right now. That's how real it is. But I still put on a bra, so we're still getting to know each other when I'm putting a bra on. Maybe one day I'll be doing them braless. It could happen. It very well could happen. Yeah, that's it. Thanks everyone for watching, and please like and subscribe if you so desire to. been having a lot of fun meeting other Flosstubers. It's a really interesting format because I feel like I know these people really well because I watch them talk for hours. And really the only way that they're going to get to know me back is if they watch mine or if we meet in person. So it's been really exciting, and everyone's been super friendly, and I've just been meeting a lot of people just by messaging them, and they've been really accommodating to just talking to me. And I'm newish, like I said, so I know my way around the quilting world pretty well, but the cross stitch world I'm learning, and a lot of people are encouraging. So on today would be Tuesday. It's Tuesday night. We leave the rental house on Saturday, I believe. So I have a few days to pack up. It might sound like a lot of time to pack, but when you have 2 toddlers, the amount of crap 2 toddlers require is insane, especially for a 8-week trip. So to say I started packing now is not early at all, especially when you talk about needing to have oil changes and things done. I'm glad I got that done because it was worrying me. I didn't want to nag Blake about it forever and ever and ever. I had shredded cheese all over the inside of my car that I was really scared was going to melt into the carpet. That's life with a toddler right there. So yeah, I spent a lot of the day today just packing and condensing and putting things on Marketplace to help make space in the car, and doing the mom things. And I'm really lucky that my mom was able to fly out, so she's able to watch the girls so I can concentrate on doing that stuff without losing my mind. So that's been a really good thing for me mentally. Today I think was the first time I've seen my mom take a nap in 20 years maybe. I think the girls finally wore her down after she's been here since the 30th, so not quite 2 weeks. And yeah, today she had to go lay down, and I just kind of laughed to myself because I'm like, yep, everyone's getting tired. Everyone's getting really tired. So, but it's good because it's getting tired doing fun things and spending time together. It's not getting tired being stressed out. Yeah. So thanks again so much for watching, and I will work on putting the video of In Stitches in. Again, they're in Alexandria, Virginia. Super beautiful shop to go see. You'll be able to see the different models and things. I'm learning how to do the video stuff for sure. It's not something I ever really had to do before, except for maybe when I was teaching, which is a completely different format. So, all right, I'll finally let you go. All right, have a good night.